Alrighty. Let's see. Here, and there. Clickety click in the air. Just double checking, the usual checks. Mic check. Okay. Well, I probably have just enough battery just to check. Oh, never mind. I got more than enough battery on my phone. Oh shit. Hate when I'm connected to my earphones and then I try to play through my phone and I'm like, where's the sound? Where is it? Come on. And I'm like, where's the sound? Okay, we're good. Alright guys, welcome to another video. Today, I thought I'd do this topic because it's been something that's like kind of been on my mind for a little bit now. It kind of comes in and out of my mind as all my topics do with each of my videos, right? They allow me to kind of, I allow myself to kind of mull on things a little bit, chew on it for a little while until I start to think to myself, like one day I'll come up and then I'll be like wanting to film a video and I'll be like, okay, what do I want to film about today? What do I want to talk about? Like what kind of topic should I do that fits within my time period that I'm trying to do it and also fits with what I actually want to do? Because I don't like to do shit that I don't actually want to do. That's a big no-no for me. So obviously if you can't help it, there's some things you have to do. But if I can avoid it and if I can manifest other ways for me to do something that involves me actually wanting to do it, I'm gonna go for that pathway rather than doing things that I don't want to do. And some people might think that's like an idealistic or unrealistic, but at the same time I'm living life and I'm still surviving and I'm thriving actually. So whatever I do behind closed doors ain't none of your business. Besides the point. Getting into the topic of the video, cliches are almost always, if not always, true. And to some people this may be obvious, and to some people it may not be obvious. The reason why is I was kind of taking a trip down memory lane today, like thinking back to my old perspective, my old version of my old mind that I was living in, right? How my old perspective was in the way that I was seeing the world and the way that I was going about things. And it kind of took me to this space of like thinking, first of all, about how people like to make life out to be harder than it really is, right? Because I was a victim of this. I used to do this to the extreme, right? So I would think that things were so much harder. And then it got me onto the thinking pattern of like, when I was in that mind state, it actually made things harder by default. And that may seem obvious to people, but I'm about to go into deeper level, which a lot of people might not even consider or think about. When it came to that, it was like, what's it called? Little things like cleaning. Like I used to find it so difficult to clean, right? I used to find it so difficult to keep myself tidy in a lot of spaces and the places that I went. And I found cleaning to be a very difficult chore-like thing, right? And by default, my mind, because I was trying to avoid cleaning so much, I was actually making it worse for myself, because then things would stack up. Like when you're in that avoidant mindset, you allow things to kind of pile up. And then by the time that you actually do have to face it, you're actually facing a lot worse of a situation had you not just actually faced it initially. So nowadays, what I've learned is this technique, which I didn't actually know what this was called until I seen this lady on YouTube. She was talking about it. I was like, hey, that's literally what I do. Like, but I didn't consider it as like a thing, you know? So she called it preventative cleaning. And that's something that I've done for years, preventative cleaning. So it's kind of obvious, self-explanatory, right? But to anybody who doesn't know what preventative means, essentially what you're doing is you're just cleaning everything as you go. So when you see something that's dirty, you just pick it up and you clean it. Like in an instant. You don't think about it. You don't pause. You don't hesitate and go, oh, I'll go do this and then come back to this later. Preventative cleaning, you just do it. You just do it. And so what happens is by the time you actually come back to do your deep clean or your proper clean, right, you have that much less stuff. In fact, your clean is way significantly shortened because you've actually done preventative cleaning. And actually a lot of the time when you do preventative cleaning, you hardly have to clean at all, which is something really interesting that lady I watched on YouTube was bringing up. Because she was like saying how people in her life were like, you're so clean. How do you keep things so clean? How do you keep your house so tidy and so on and so forth? And she had turned around and she said, I don't clean. She said, I don't ever clean. And they kind of like scoff, or they'll just be in disbelief. Like, how do you not clean when your house is always so clean? And she explained the whole preventative cleaning thing. And even then someone might be like, oh, well, no, that's still cleaning. But when you actually do preventative cleaning, if you're someone who does preventative cleaning, you actually understand that it kind of just becomes like a default thing and you don't actually think about it. It's almost like second nature. But what really, really hit it home for me was getting out of that mindset of thinking that cleaning was such a chore, cleaning was so difficult. And that's what really made me so good at keeping up with preventative cleaning. But that's just a little side kind of, what do you call it? A small aspect of the topic that I'm talking about right now, right? That's just a little example that I can kind of bring to you guys with when it comes to cliches are always true. Now, some people might be thinking, okay, well, how does that even relate to any cliches, right? Well, the cliche that I'm thinking of, if anyone might have caught on by now, is life is what you make it. And I know, being the person that I used to be and coming from the space that I used to be in, I used to look at those kind of things when people say life is what you make it. And I used to really think like, what a fucking load of shit. Like, what a load of shit. In some moments I would probably agree, but a lot of the time, especially when I was really in that negative space and I was like, life is so frustrating, all of this kind of shit going through my mind, right? I used to think, what a load of shit, you know? Life is not what you fucking make it, because right now I'm experiencing this situation, that situation. Like, what do you expect me to make out of this if life is what you make it, right? But it really is. It really is. And when you actually learn to switch that perspective and change that perspective, you will see it from the perspective of a lot of people, where a lot of people are coming from when they say life is what you make it. But as long as you stay in that negative mindset, you're only ever going to see examples of life not being what you make it and life overruling you. And this is where the strength comes in, the mental and the spiritual strength comes in, with being able to actually push past and overpower anything in your reality. If you've watched my other videos, I'm a big advocate for self-gaslighting, right? So if you don't know what self-gaslighting is, because you might not have watched my other videos, self-gaslighting is essentially when you look at a situation that you're going through that may be negative, you acknowledge, you say to yourself, yes, I know that this situation is not only frustrating me, it's difficult, it's overwhelming, right? But you gaslight yourself and you trick yourself into not letting it overwhelm you. And when you actually do this, you're creating a different perspective for your mind to pay attention to. So instead of focusing on the negative, you start focusing on how what you actually just gaslit yourself to believing is actually true, right? And this is why I say as well, using that example of life is what you make it. because once you actually do that, you'll be like, oh, okay, I can actually change a lot of things that I thought I had no power and control over, right? But if you're the type of person where you just feel like you just have to let go and you just have to give up when you have no power over control over something, you may need to start working in a different area. You know, the things you feel like you have no power and control over, you may need to start smaller than just facing those big obstacles, right? Because it's not going to take you just an instant, you know, like, boom, let me switch my perspective. Like, let me snap back from this negative mindset. You know, like, it's not to say that these things are just one and done and easy and simple, right? It's just to say that when you actually put things into perspective for yourself and allow yourself to see it clearly, aka not see it at all. You know, when I say clearly, I'm talking about seeing your own mentality, seeing your own vision clearly, not seeing reality clearly, because your reality can show you many different things. Your reality can show you that you ain't shit. Your reality can show you that you're broke. Your reality can show you that you hate yourself. Like, whatever the case may be for your reality, it can show you many different things. But as long as you stay true to your vision, like, no, I do not give a fuck what my mind or my reality tells me. I'm going to believe this. I'm going to focus on this. Whether my reality shows me that I'm broke, no, I'm just going to believe that I'm abundant. I'm going to believe that I'm rich, you know, like whatever the case may be. That's just a like very simple kind of lame example, right? But also like can be useful, you know what I mean? So when you actually do that, you will see the results. But as long as you stay in that world and think to yourself like, look at this guy, he doesn't even know what he's talking about. He probably hasn't even been through much. He probably hasn't even been through shit for him to be able to sit up here and say all this stuff about life is what you make it. Because I know exactly what kind of people would be thinking that, because I used to be that kind of person. You know, I know exactly what we'd be running through those minds, you know, thinking to themselves like, look at this guy on his high horse, white privilege, like who knows what the fuck else you have in your mind going on, right? But little do a lot of people know, I might have been through a lot more hectic shit than them for me to even be here talking with the confidence and the wisdom and the knowledge that I'm actually talking with, right? Because it takes experience, it takes hardships, it takes reality hitting you in the face 1,000 times for you to actually get to a point of talking the way that I'm talking, right? And that's not to say that, you know, one person's reality is worse or less worse than another. No, we all go through hardships. But again, it's what you make it, you know what I mean? So you got to put things into perspective like that. But yeah, when it comes to those whole topics, right? I had another kind of perspective in my mind that I was trying to think about, but now that I've gone deeper into the video, I've kind of slipped my mind a little bit. So yeah, when it comes to those kind of topics, right? Look at me repeating myself. Round and round the merry-round we go. Hey, freaking record player, mate. So let me think. Let me just sit there and think, because now I'm like, okay, where I had that on the tip of my mind, right? And now I'm like, where the fuck is that at? I might have already explained it now that I'm really thinking about it, right? But yeah, besides that, essentially, majority of sayings are almost always, if not always, true, especially the cliche ones, especially the ones that people constantly drill into your brain, and you might hear them and you're like, bitch, what the fuck? You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, right? But I can guarantee the fact that it's being constantly said multitudes of times throughout many, many years, possibly hundreds, who knows how long half of these sayings have been going on for, right? The fact that they've been used for that long should tell you something about the validity of those specific things, you know what I mean? Because you know, things that we know that are false, eventually we'll come to that realization, we'll come to that awareness of it as a collective, right? Eventually people will be like, you know, that's actually a myth, right? You know, that's actually bullshit. So we need to kind of put things into perspective like that too, because we're always evolving and we're always growing as a collective and as individuals. So for saying to constantly be there and not really have much change, if any change, that should tell you something about the validity of said saying. And that goes for a lot of cliche sayings that a lot of people may just kind of brush off and say, well, nah, that's probably not true. Oh, nah, that's probably not it. Oh, nah, I don't think so, blah, blah, blah. Whatever freaking side of the spectrum you're on, babes, it doesn't really matter, because you're most likely wrong about it if you're thinking on the negative side. And it's okay to be wrong, you know. It's okay to be wrong, because being wrong teaches you how to be right next time. And then you might find yourself being wrong another time, right? But it'll eventually lead you to being right in the end. So that's what it's all about. It's all about growth. It's all about change. It's all about evolution, transformation, all of that good shit, you know, that helps us to actually expand and contract as spirits so that we can actually take ourselves to the next level of our existence, instead of sitting in some old ass, depressed ass, slow ass, lame ass, gay ass world. And yes, I said gay, bitch. I know some people, you know, these days they're like, oh, you shouldn't say that word. I don't know about people overseas, but in Australia and New Zealand, they're like, oh, you shouldn't say that word. Gay is a bad word. You shouldn't say it like that, calling things stupid and using the word gay. Oh my gosh. I don't really care, because I like using that word and I'm gay. So do I not get a pass? I think so. And even if I wasn't gay, I'd probably still use it, because I think that this world needs to rise above negative words and just understand the energy or the vibration that's behind each of these words, rather than focusing on the exact word that we're saying. Because the English language is a freaking trash ass language anyway. Half in Māori and in a lot of other languages that are, you know, uninfected by English, that are, you know, indigenous to certain countries, we don't even technically have swear words in our languages. And then in the English language, they actually have swear words, and then they have the nerve to tell you that those words are bad. But you're the one who invented that language with those words. So how is it bad that I'm using the language that you invented? Oh, I don't know. That's a whole freaking debacle for me, because it's like, I'm going to use whatever I want to use. You know, if I want to say fuck, shit, cunt, all of those things, I'm going to use them. Technically, you know, I would rather not use them in arguments and call someone else a fucking bitch or a cunt. That stuff is, you know, questionable. But if I'm using it in the right context and I'm using it for the right reasons, I don't see the issue, babes. I see more of an issue with someone who has an issue with it. But that's a whole nother video. I'll just leave this video on that, and I will see you guys for the next video. Keep it short and sweet. Peace. Peace. Peace.